sa bawat pestisido, may iba-iba. Sa bawat insekto pala o peste, iba-iba ang pestisido. So may talagang pag walang suporta ng ating gobyerno sa pamamagitan ng pestisido, punla, pataba, krudo, mahihirapan tayo sa food security. We really have to provide the necessary support for our, not just our rice farmers, basta ang farmers at fisher folk natin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dalawang question na lamang po, Mr. President. Almost every month, ako po, Mr. President, nakakatanggap ng sumbong mula sa mga residente na nakatira malapit sa mga poultry at piggery farms dahil mabahong amoy, maingay at panganib na rin sa kanilang kalusugan. So ang tanong ko po, Mr. President, hindi ba tayo dapat magkaroon ng malinaw na zoning policy at biosecurity standards pagdating po sa poultry at piggery?
Definitely, Mr. President. In fact, sa aming gulayan sa Alfonso, Cavite, malapit kami sa isang poultry farm. Pero hindi namin alam na may poultry farm doon dahil walang amoy. In other words, at least sa probinsya ng Cavite, yung local government stricto. No? I'm not sure in other areas, but at least sa area namin. At patakaran talaga ng LGU na hindi dapat nagkakaroon ng aberya o nagkakaroon ng ganong klaseng noxious fumes galing sa mga langaw pati galing sa mga poultry na apektado yung mga residents. It's really a challenge, Mr. President, dahil ang daing naman ng mga poultry growers ay gusto na nating matigil na ang importation. Kaya dapat para suportahan ang ating mga poultry farms. But at the same time, may reklamo. So I think the solution really is okay lang yung poultry farms as long as it's properly zoned, di ba? In areas that it is allowed by way of zoning. And two, dapat ginagastusan para ma-ensure yung pinaka-latest technology para itong mga sabihin na natin nakakalason o masama ang amoy o yung dami ng mga langaw are managed properly by the poultry farm managers and operators.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last question po, may kinalaman sa subsidies for fishermen. Nung nakaraang buwan, Mr. President, nagkaroon tayo ng fuel price hike sa ating bansa. Actually, it was a couple of months ago at kinakailangan ng mga mangisda na magkaroon ng subsidies para mapagpatuloy ang kanilang hanap buhay. Ang system, Mr. President, ay nakasalungat ang BFAR at DBM sa direct cash release at voucher system. Mr. President, bakit ang fuel subsidies para sa mga mangisda ay laging kulang, delayed, o dili kaya napupuno ng red tape? So ang gusto kasi ng mga fishermen ay dapat diretso na lang sa kanilang cash assistance versus ang nangyari kasi ngayon, Mr. President, yung cash assistance dumadaan sa LGU and then sa BFAR, and then BFAR and DBM. Ang mismong nag-assign kung saan gasoline station sila pwedeng maningil ng voucher nila versus ang gusto ng mga fishermen ay dapat cash assistance direct to them para mas mapabilis yung kanilang pagkuha ng gasolina, magasolina ng kanilang mga pambo, Mr. President.
I think dapat mas creative yung ating BFAR. No? Hindi pa pwedeng one size fits all. And so I share the concern that perhaps in certain jurisdictions, depende sa lugar, baka mas mainam nga na maging cash assistance rather than voucher. No? In other areas where it's workable, then a voucher system should be likewise allowed kung convenient ito para sa ating mga mangingisda. But all told, that support should be made available. Also because pag tumaas ang presyo ng crudo, tataas kaagad. If I'm not mistaken, up to 70% of the cost of production sa paghuhuli ng isda is because of fuel cost. Yung pagpapalaot. So dapat talaga para manatiling mababa ang presyo ng isda, lalo na't pag mataas ang presyo ng crudo, mayroong ganitong klaseng voucher system. Now the challenge is how to implement it or cash assistance properly. Dahil minsan makupad din ang ahensya ng pamahalaan. Meron lang nga ako narinig nga nung isang linggo, baka ibang programa ito, pero yun nga, 10 buwan nakuha nila yung cash assistance para sa kalamidad 10 months after nung kalamidad. Pagka ganun, parang hindi na natutugunan yung dahilan nung assistance. But anyway, going back to the fuel subsidy, we support that. We will look into it also, and we will ask the BIFAR to explain why the cash assistance, direct cash assistance, is not doable. And what are yun na nga, ano ang mga hadlang para mangyari ito. Pati ang DBM. Naalala ko minsan yung DBM nung nasa 18 Congress pa ako. Naging makupad sa paglabas ng implementing rules nung Sagip-Saka Act. Hindi ko, gagawin natin ulit yun. Kung hindi sila makapagpaliwanag ng maayos, ide-defer natin yung budget nila. At hindi natin naaprubahan hanggang ilabas nila yung maayos at maliwanag na patakaran na makikinabang ang ating mga mangingisda. In fact, just to add, if I may add, tatanungin ko lahat ng ahensya ng pamahalaan. I'm sending them notice already publicly today that each agency that buys food, tatanong ko sa kanila, magkano ang budget ninyo na binili ninyo o bibilihin ninyo direkta sa mga magsasaka para sa feeding program ninyo, calamity relief ninyo, sa mga milk feeding program, meron pa sa jails, hospitals, etc. Para pag hindi sila makapagpaliwanag at wala silang plano, i-defer natin yung budget nila hanggang may plano sila.
Yun. Elmi, very last na, Mr. President, so going back to fuel subsidies sa mga fisher folks, is it possible, Mr. President, na pag-aralan natin na taasan yung fuel subsidies para sa kanila?
Yes, I'm more than willing, your committee is more than willing to look into this. After our interpellations, we will send communications to the BIFAR. And what is the current policy on fuel subsidies support for our fisher folk? And then we will let you know. Magkano ba dyan? Ano ba ang kailangan? Pwede ba dagdagan? And we will inform the good gentleman. But bubusisiin natin yan din sa budget ng BIFAR at ng DA.
That's all. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Sir.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Senador Tulfo at Mr. President. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, Senator Lauren Legarda is seeking the floor. I move that she be recognized.
Senator Lauren Legarda is next to interpolate.
Ano ba yun? 7% ng cost of fuel. Diba?
Hindi ako makita rito. Side.
Okay.
Okay.
It should be 90.
Will the distinguished gentleman from Central Luzon and the Philippines, our resident agriculturist and farmer, yield to some friendly interpellation from a neighbor and a weekend farmer?
In Tagaytay, yes, willingly, to the former Senate President Pro Tem, former Majority Leader, former Chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, and so forth and so on.
Yes, thank you very much. First, I appreciate your rising today amidst a food insecurity issue, which I believe is an issue of national security, because you clearly said that what happens to the food on our table, sino magpapakain sa ating lahat? Since we have an aging farmer population, they are the poorest of the poor, our farmers and our fisher folks. And that is the great irony of it all. Those who feed us are those who may not even have and do not have food on their tables or receive lower than minimum wage. So I join you with all my wisdom in 25 years in policy and in my personal experience from a little hyper-local farm, micro, and being with farmers and fisher folks almost every week when I go home to my
Batangas.
province of Antique,
Ayun,
which
Antique.
I would like to invite you to so that you can directly talk and speak to our farmers and our fisher folks as well. And so I have a few questions to enlighten us on policy in the next couple of months, if not years, starting with a law that we passed here in 2019. And I believe that there are possible amendments to the rice tariffication law.
Yes.
May I know the direction where our good sponsor is going, considering that the rice tariffication law, it removed import quotas and imposed tariffs on rice. But there was a promise, and this was twofold: cheaper rice for consumers and tariff revenues that would be poured into farm modernization through the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund, the RCEF. I'd like to ask, based on your knowledge and actual experience, is the distribution of the RCEF, has it been fair and helpful? Would you be in a position to want to change the way RCEF is being implemented? Because we know that farmers still complain, first, that their farm gate prices crash whenever imports flood the market, while retail prices in stores are still high. And there have been calls for the RTL to be amended. And given your advocacy for decades, what changes do you think the rice tariffication law should have? Do you see the need to give the NFA back limited intervention powers, or focus on restructuring the RCEF so farmers can truly benefit? How can these reforms strike a balance between, on one hand, helping farmers earn more while also keeping rice affordable for the ordinary family? So just two-pronged, the direction we're taking in terms of proposed amendments, if any, to the RTL, but second, how the RCEF has been accessed by farmers, how has it helped, and how can we improve a more equitable distribution and greater impact to our farmer communities? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the series of questions regarding the rice tariffication measure and possible amendments. Mr. President, that is precisely likewise the direction that we'd like to take in terms of an accounting of where the funds have gone in the last since 2019. I will admit, Mr. President, I was not in the Senate for the last 3 years, and so I lack the updated reports on the implementation of the rice tariffication measure. And so I will need the information regarding where the billions were spent, who benefited from it. But offhand, we feel that based on the farmers and farmers groups who have complained about the RCEF, many of them are concerned about who are really benefiting from the mechanization, from the distribution of dryers. I understand the budgetary support may not cover most of the areas, and that's why we have to go into an inventory of where the money went, number one. With respect to the issue of NFA, I feel, having been chairman of the board of NFA, that we may have to restore a number of the regulatory functions of the NFA. We are still exploring whether or not to give back the power of importation given certain circumstances and given certain situations for the NFA, or if that can be done by the NDA, the National Development Corporation, rather, NDC, or the PTIC. So we're still reviewing that. But in terms of returning certain regulatory powers for the NFA, I feel when I was chairman of the NFA board, the NFA had the power to deputize the NBI, for example, and the PNP. to monitor hoarding